Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Ugh, overslept. I'm still getting my morning coffee in. I'm still waking up. It's been a couple of days since we looked at these, so we should have a good idea of where we're at now. Okay, let's get started. Okay, you're installing a new CPU, which is the following is a reason for thermal compound. That sounds about right. Nope, nope, nope. All right. You to support a new hard drive need to upgrade the BIOS from the motherboard manufacturer. Not from the BIOS manufacturer. I've gotten that one wrong a couple of times. You manufacture a BIOS, whatever. Okay, so these are going to be DDR3 chips because of the PC3. And you take this number and you want to divide it by 8. 12,800 divided by 8 is pretty close to this. This has to be the answer. Client wants to build a new system. They want it to be small and consume low power. Which of the following motherboard form factors is the smallest? I think that's Mini ITX. ATX and BTX and AT are larger than ITX. ITX is a family, but they're all really small form factor. Mobile devices and whatnot. Tablets. You need to replace RAM. An old Pentium-based computer, there's DDR2 memory, DDR2 modules. Insert into slots. Plug in a new eSATA hard drive into the eSATA port. Computer does not recognize the drive. Well, it has two cable inputs. It has the data and the power. You definitely don't need to flash the BIOS to support eSATA. eSATA ports has nothing to do with Windows. Disabling the eSATA port wouldn't make it work, so it has to be plugged in. You're choosing a new hard drive system. Which of the following would be the fastest for disk reads and writes? Probably M.2 PCIe. Yeah. No moving parts. Conventional hard drive disk. Hard drive has spinning disks, spinning platters with a head that reads and writes to them. Whereas a solid state drive is a type of flash memory. Uh-huh. Surfaces that hold magnetic domains. Hard drives do use magnetism to read or write to like the sectors on the platter. I don't know what the magnetic domains on the platter surface. I guess they call them domains. Choosing an optical drive solution for a client, how much data can a single layer of a DVD hold? I believe it's 4.7 gigabytes. 2.88 megabytes is too low. 25 gigabytes is too high. 2.8 gigabytes sounds still a little low. Yeah, 4.7. Single-sided Blu-ray, I believe, can hold 25. Client needs to be able to plug in more external devices. Which of the following? A USB add-on card would allow more external devices. eSATA would be internal devices. The NIC would add networking, not storage. Multimedia expansion or a USB expansion. eSATA. You said external. I guess it is external SATA. Whatever. So network cards. Audio and video. There goes my perfect score. Choosing a new hard drive technology for a client. Which of the following graphics interface connectors produces an analog signal? VGA. Which of the following cables provides a maximum data transfer rate of 10 gigabytes a second? That's USB 3.1. This 3.0 does 5 gigabytes, 3.1 does 10, 3.2 does 20. A USB mouse is plug and play, 100%. A SATA is not, because you still have to initialize and format the drive. New simple volume type beep. eSATA doesn't provide power. DVI doesn't provide power. Molex is only power. Thunderbolt is power and data. USB 4 is power and data. Which of the following types of cables was not designed for storage devices? USB. It's for peripherals. It can be used with it, but that's not what it was for. Okay. Laser printing process. The laser is used to reduce the charge to negative 100. That developing? It's exposing. During the exposing process, laser shines in the photosensitive drum, reduces the charge to negative 100 direct volt. Okay. Which of the following are valid methods to connect an inkjet printer? USB and Ethernet. What is the most basic type of printer? I would say a thermal printer. I got a feeling it's going to be Impact though. Well, one thing is to say basic, another thing is to say which one's the oldest. Basic is a little relative of a term. Which laser component formats the print job for the type of printer being used? The formatter software. Printer controller assembly. Yeah. Which of the following components in the laser printer is responsible for transferring toner? The transfer corona wire puts a positive charge on the paper, forcing the toner on a negatively charged drum to move to the paper. High voltage power supply in a laser printer provides voltages to the corona wires. Manager needs to ensure that employee's review does not start printing until they are at the printer to retrieve it. They should use badging. Or should they just use secure print? Secure print. Because these two things, while they are right, they are contained within this. Yeah. A user is talking on their smartphone with a Bluetooth wireless headset. They've got a pan. ST, LC, and SC. Boom, I got that. Okay. ST, SC, and LC are the copper connectors. Gotta remember that. There is no OC connector. What I thought. You need to create an Ethernet patch cable, and one end is configured as a T568A cable. The other end needs to be the same. I don't know what the name of the cable is where they're not the same. A crossover cable, that's what it is. That's right, that's right. 568B on the other end, okay. Fire code plenum. That's simple. We're talking about fire code and cables. The answer is always plenum. Which the following is a loopback address? I don't think it's B. It's either A, C, or D. I feel like this is not a loopback address. I feel like this is a link local. I feel like it's one of these two. FE80. It's not. I feel like C is a loopback, is a link local. Is it D? Oh, it's A. Oh, this one's link local. This one is multicast. FE80. Loopback address, colon. Loopback starts with colon. The rest don't. Okay, let me ask a question. Just so that I understand this. Do loopback always have colon as the start? Yes, no. Shorthand notation is sequence. So directly answer your question. Yes, the loopback address in an IPv6 always starts with colon because it's part of the standard notation for the address. It's reserved for local communication. Trying to understand how to identify a loopback address. So a loopback address in IPv4 always starts with 127.0.0.0. It always starts with 127. That's a loopback. For IPv6, it's always going to be reserved address : 1. The : represents the zeros. It's easy to recognize. It doesn't belong to a range like IPv4. They let the system talk to itself for network testing. Non-routable. Okay, so ping : 1. All right, let's go to CMD. And we'll ping : 1. Oh, I mean, yeah, it works. Packet sent 4, received 4, lost 0, approximate time in milliseconds, 0. Less than a millisecond, yeah. It's talking to itself. It is amazing. Everyone likes to talk shit about how AI is like full of trash and wrong, but like it's not always right, but I do find that like the amount of accuracy that it has with some technical topics and fields of study is quite astonishing. It's way more accurate than a human being is, right? It might not be perfect, but it's way more accurate. Like looking for answers to technical computer things, it's way faster than picking through blogs and comments and watching YouTube videos of unrelated topics to get bits and pieces of information to piece together. Which protocol is designed to share files, printers, and computers regardless of the operating system? That's going to be CIFS. SMB is for Windows systems. CIFS can work with anything. LDAP is a directory protocol. TFTP is for transferring a file or sending updates to configuration to network devices. Lightweight directory access can store information. Now for sharing, Telnet 23. You block port 25. You will not be able to send mail. Yeah. Troubleshooting a client computer as a 169.254. You cannot reach the DHCP server. That is in a PIPA. Which of the following standards is backward compatible with A and B? G is only compatible with B. I is a security standard, so I think the answer is N. A security specification. What is the term that describes when packets meet the criteria of a firewall's access control list and are allowed to pass through? That's port forwarding. Port triggering is automated port forwarding. You need to configure a firewall to deny access to all computers except 25 clients. A whitelist would be better than a blacklist. Blacklist would be giant. Whitelist would only have 25 IPs, or 25 MAC addresses, I guess. What is the name of the service that translates between public IP addresses and private non-routable? That's the NAT, Network Address Translation. Wireless encryption that uses AES, WPA2. WPA uses PKIP. forget what WEP uses. Something else. What port does DHCP use? Oh. It's not this. Not this. And it's not this. It's this. FTP uses 2021. Yep. 80 and 443 are hypertext transfer. 53 is DNS. 53 is DNS. Okay. I knew it wasn't 53. Okay. The Radius server and is an example of what? Proxy server? An authentication server. Remote authentication dial-in user service. Radius. Okay, so a Radius is an authentication server. You've been asked to configure client-side virtualization on your friend's workstation. She is concerned that her computer will not be able to run Windows, Linux, and Mac. It can run all three if it has enough resources for 3 hypervisors. You're giving training about reading syslog messages, which the following is not a component of syslog messages. Facility code. No, it's device code. The device code is in the facility code. The device is identified by the facility code. Yeah, there is no device code in that type of server. The user has a Windows 10 laptop and needs to connect a set of external speakers. USB, Bluetooth, or serial. Choose 2. USB or Bluetooth. When I hear serial, it makes me think of like audio jack for some reason. I know it's not a serial cable, but it's like where I default, like those type of analog cables. You need to replace an inverter. Your manager tells you to be careful because it has high voltage, high frequency power. It will shock you. You do not want high voltage, high frequency power flowing into your body. You need to install a new hard drive in a laptop. What are the most common size? 1.8 and 2.5. For a laptop? Yeah. You are training new users on how to use a laptop. Which laptop input device is a flat surface that you can slide to control the cursor, a touchpad? Which of the following protocols cannot be used to retrieve mail on a mobile device from a server? SMTP and GPS. SMTP is for sending mail, not receiving it. GPS is for global positioning. Which of the following is designed to synchronize data between a mobile device and a Microsoft Exchange server? ActiveSync. Which of the following best describes the list of cellular towers a mobile device will attempt to connect to when roaming? The PRL, preferred roaming list. By default, which of the following are connection methods that allow the connection of an iPhone to a PC for synchronization? Wi-Fi and USB. We're shredding this right now. And I'm loving every minute of it, Jerry. Right? Okay. How do I pull up my chat? I don't know. Do it on my other PC, I guess. I doubt there's anyone watching. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm literally just studying. Booting up the secondary PC to get all that stuff up and running. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, man. Nice chill day. Might go for a walk when I'm done studying here. Oh, chat. Yep. Not a single person has interacted. That's what I thought. Okay. While troubleshooting a laptop, you believe you have identified the problem. Now you establish a plan. You don't have a theory. You have identified the problem. Now it's time to... No. You think you have a problem. Now you establish a theory. And then after you establish the theory, then... Okay, once you test... Identify the problem. Establish a theory. Test the theory. When it's tested... Fourth step is establish a plan of action. Fifth step is to verify that it worked. Oh, I got it all messed up in my head. When a laptop boots up, it does not appear to complete the post. Which device can help? A postcard. I need to get one of those. That sounds very useful. During which step of the troubleshooting best practice methodology should you refer to vendor's instructions for guidance? When establishing a plan of action. But make sure you do it right when you're planning out your action. You are working on a laser printer. Client explains toner is not clearly pressed. It's the fuser. The fuser keeps the toner on the paper. It's the only device that does that makes it stick. You suspect there's a problem with the customer's USB ports. Which of the following devices can be used to test a USB port? A loopback plug? Yeah. It tests whether or not a port is working, can work. Built-in network card isn't working. What should you have them do? See if there are any connectivity lights. Make sure it's turned on. First steps. Look, visually see what it's doing. Visually and verify that it's on. Plugged in right and all that. You are sending print jobs to a printer. Nothing is printing. The printer is online. Start and restop the spooler then. You believe your laser printer has a power issue using a multimeter. What reading should you get from pin 9? I don't know. Let's say negative. Considering that all the answers previously were all negative for the voltages in the printer, I'm going to assume that it's either minus 24 volts or minus 5 volts. I'm going 24. It's plus 24. I'm an asshole. User reports their mouse frequently jumps. It's that point stick. The mouse cursor on their laptop screen, even if they aren't touching the mouse or keyboard. It's the point stick. It's got, yeah, you've got Joy-Con drift. Common causes of crinkled paper, obstructed path, the gears are stripped. If it's out of toner, the pictures would be faded. If the printer is overheated, I don't think it would be working. We're installing a new wireless router and want to see how far it works. You need a Wi-Fi analyzer. Complete then. 55 correct. That's pretty good. That's pretty damn good. That's pretty damn good. 55 out of 61. That's pretty damn good. Okay, that's a 90%. That's what we want to see. 90s. We want 90s. We don't want 80s. We want 90s. 90%. That's what we like right there. 5 days. No, we got 4 days. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Ugh, I'm all mixed up. Oh well. Well, that's good. So we're still getting good scores. Let's do one more test. As much as I don't want to, honestly. We take test 4. I feel like test 4 was the easiest one. What manages post? The BIOS or UEFI? God. I need just 1 second. Just a minute. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Okay. Feeling better. Client was able to run faster, but does not want to upgrade any equipment. There's a term that describes running a faster for overclocking. What motherboard slots? RAM slots. You are troubleshooting a desktop computer that keeps forgetting the boot sequence. CMOS battery. That one's easy. Which of these is not a standalone motherboard form factor? ITX and DTX. Mini ITX is a motherboard form factor. ITX is a family. ATX is a form factor. DTX is nothing. Which of the following raids only require 2 drives? RAID 0. You could stripe them. Oh, choose all that apply, dumbass. Big dumbass over here. You need to choose the appropriate optical media for a client who makes videos. They do not want to use Blu-ray. Which of the following will give them the most capacity? DVD, RD, SDL. That's the biggest, that's the fattest DVD you're going to get. Dual-sided single layer. It's beautiful. DVD plus read, dual-sided single layer. When should the voltage selector be set to the higher setting? When you're in Europe? You just installed a new power supply. It has a 24-pin connector from it. It's going for the motherboard. When choosing a storage solution, which of the following is not an advantage of SSDs? Lower cost. They're more expensive, not less expensive. Which of the following describes a hybrid drive? It has moving and solid state components. Which of the following technologies uses a flat 40-pin cable? Right, PETA uses a ribbon cable. Yeah, PETA uses flat ribbon cables. You're connecting an IDE drive. Which of the following statements is true? Pin 1 should be nearest. Yeah, pin 1, that red pin, is the power pin. Which is the maximum number of devices that can be plugged into an IDE cable? 2. It can hold 2 devices at once. Which video technology supports digital and video but require a different cable for each? That's DVI. You have a monitor with a DVI-I connector, but the video card only supports HDMI. Which of the following is true? You can use a DVI to HDMI adapter. What device in an inkjet printer contains the printhead, the cartridge? What type of printer uses a special waxy paper that gets darker as heat passes over it? That's a thermal printer, also known as a receipt printer. You're installing a printer for a medical form on this printer. They will print carbonless 3-part forms. So we're printing in triplicate, so we're going to want an impact printer. You're troubleshooting a laser printer that keeps jamming. When you talk to the manufacturer, they ask you what caliper of paper. They're referring to the thickness of the paper, how fat the paper cut is. Technician is performing laser maintenance. Which of the following should they consider? Laser. Replace toner, apply maintenance kit, calibrate, clean. Which of the following are options for where to save or send a scanned document from an MFD? You could go to the cloud, you could go to the email, or you could go to the network folder. You wouldn't save it to the printer itself. That's printers aren't storage devices. Typically, your manager has asked you to allow employees to log into printers using their employee-issued ID. Which of the following processes will you implement? All of this. Secured prints, user authentication, audit logs, and badging. I'm pretty sure if you do secure print, it's going to do all that stuff anyway. Well, maybe you can customize it, I'm sure. A manager asks you to create 2 crossover cables to replace 2 patch cables that were inadvertently installed. Which 2 connections will the crossover cables be used for? Computer to switch and switch to switch. Computer to router and switch to switch. Patch cables are used to connect computers to switches. Okay, so computer to switch is a patch cable. It's computer to router and switch to switch that need crossover cables. Copy. Which technology allows for network devices to be placed in locations where there are no electrical outlets? Power over Ethernet. There are no electrical outlets, so you need to get power over the Ethernet instead of Ethernet over the power. You need to install a network segment that can run several kilometers without any signal regeneration. What would you need? Fiber optic. A network that is confined to a college campus is a municipal area network or a metropolitan area network. You are administering a system that has been locked down for security reasons. You notice that among all the ports, port 21 has been disabled. Okay, well then your file transfer protocol is going to be all janked up. You blocked port 143, 143, 143, 143, 110 is pop, so IMAP. They won't be able, no. IMAP won't work because it's 143. So they won't be able to retrieve email unless they've got POP3, which is on 110. Yeah. That was a tricky one. Which of the following protocols can be used by a client to retrieve email from a server? Retrieve email. We're not sending it, we're retrieving it. So it's those two, POP3 or IMAP. Which protocol is responsible for network addressing? Address Resolution Protocol, the TCP, the IP protocol. I mean, yeah, IP is a network addressing. IP address is a network address. Which of the following is an IPv6 multicast address? Now hold on, this is a loopback. This is a link local. Is it this one? Yeah. So, okay, a multicast and IPv6 has to start with FF00. So if it starts with double colon, it's a loopback. And if it starts with FE80, it's link back local. Link local. Okay, which service is designed to allow wireless-aware client computers and devices to automatically join a wireless network and discover other devices? What service is designed to allow wireless-aware client computers to devices to automatically join a wireless network? Universal plug and play. Is it CCMP? Or is it universal plug and play? I don't think universal plug and play lets you automatically join a wireless network. I think that might be CCMP. No, it's universal plug and play. I guess when I read that, I was thinking like logging in or like, you know what I mean? Like authenticating into the network. 0.4, how many there are? 3 non-overlapping channels, and they're right here, 1, 6, and 11. What is the lowest grade of cable required to run 100 base FX? Multimode fiber. It's an F, so it has to be a fiber cable. Which of the following internet connection types is the least expensive? Dial-up. It's cheap, it's dirt. What is the maximum indoor range of 802.11g? 40 meters. Their company has decided to host its own server. With that decision, how many DNS servers is the company expected to maintain? A minimum of 2. You need duplicates for all that kind of stuff, that server infrastructure. What process and protocols are to download email? These are both correct and the port numbers are right. Which of the following provides runtime environments for software developers? Platform and infrastructure, platform and software. It's platform as a service for sure. Runtime environments makes me think software. Which of the following types of servers would be responsible for managing multi-factor authentication? Your AAA server, that's your authentication server. You need to leave your laptop in an unsecured office, cable locked. Even though, let's be real, that's not really going to help, but it, it's whatever. Replacing a laptop display, which of the components is least likely to be found in the display? The DC jack. That's probably going to be in the base. Which type of power adapter would a laptop use when plugged into a receptacle in an automobile? A DC adapter. Because DC current is inside the vehicle. One of your users spilled soda on their laptop. It still appears to work, but the key stick. Replace the keyboard. Connect an external keyboard. Short-term fix. Which of the following should be done immediately before entering a code to pair a mobile device to another device? Identify the device. You don't want it to pair to things that you don't know where they are or what they are. You are configuring mobile device to use POP3. Which of the following statements is true? POP3 uses 110. That's true. You are configuring a mobile device to use secure versions of common email protocols. Specifically, this mobile device will use IMAP and SMTP over SSL. Which of the following is true? This one hurts. I don't know. I actually don't know. What? That was so lucky. SMTP and SSL uses 465. IMAP and SSL uses 993. Oh, man. SMTP uses 597. POP3 uses 995. Why might you connect a mobile device to a Wi-Fi network? To save money or to synchronize it? While troubleshooting a laptop, you test a theory to determine the cause. You are correct. Okay, so we have a theory and we tested it. Now what? Now we establish a plan. Right? If we have a correct theory, then we can start making accurate predictions, which is when we start planning. Right, planning and okay, you are troubleshooting a desktop computer experiencing lockups. Place the RAM and see if it helps. Let's start with the easiest first. Every time you run a desktop computer, it makes a grinding noise. What's probably the cause of the problem? It's not. Out of all these things, the PSU is the only thing that has a fan inside it. Laptop user is having difficulty connecting to a local network. Which of the elements required? They need an IP address and a subnet mask. After physical installation of a new hard drive, you notice the drive is not recognized at any point during boot. What should you do? Run the BIOS configuration utility. Right, if you can't get into Windows, then you can't format it in Windows. So you need to format it in the BIOS. You have a new laptop that doesn't have any video. The power lights are on. You plug in a known working external monitor and toggle the LCD cutoff switch. There is no video on the monitor either. It seems like it's got to be the card. It's two different screens. Two different screens are not getting it. Chances it can't be the cable, because if the cable for the second screen was the problem, the first screen would be working. So it has to be the card at this point. We've gotten to the card. You're troubleshooting an inkjet printer. The printer has poor print quality. Some images are missing quality and others appear smeared. What device contains the print head, the cartridge? The ink cartridge is an ink printer. What is the result of absent or broken static eliminator strip in either an EP or laser jet? Paper jams will occur because the paper will curl around the drum because of the static electricity. Need to open the case of a mobile device to replace the battery, which the following is not part of disassembling process. Do not leave it plugged in. Do not operate on a computer device while it's plugged in. The user calls to report that icons, images on their screen are very large. Why don't you change the resolution? Why don't you try that out, bud? User's mobile device is becoming hot to the touch. After they turn it off, let it cool down and power it back on. It's hot within minutes. Replace the battery. And test. 57. 57. 57. Correct. 57. 57. That is a 95%. I can't believe that. I can't believe I did it that fast and loose. I was flying through that test. I was flying through that, like full speed. That must have taken me maybe 15 minutes. Maybe. Holy crap. Holy crap. That's kind of wild. That's kind of wild. A month ago, I was so scared that I would never get to this point. I was terrified that I would never feel like I had a grasp on the material. But I'm starting to feel like I got a grasp on the material. Obviously, I don't know all the details of everything, but I clearly have some kind of idea of what's going on. It's either that or I'm gaming this whole system. But I'm not going to focus on that. That's highly unlikely. If I was just gaming this system, then earlier this week when I took 420 questions in a row and got an 84% or 83%, that wouldn't have been possible. That's just too many questions to be gaming. The answers and memorizing. There's no way. I did not memorize 80% of the answers to 240 questions. I just didn't. I'm memorizing the material, not the questions. I have to be. I'm exposed to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different questions, and I'm consistently getting them correct. That's how I see it anyway. It feels good. And this is how sad of a rat bastard that I am. Right? I'm getting these test results. Right? Look at that. 55, 57 out of 60. I see that, and what I think is, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pass the second core. Like, I'm immediately moving on to being scared about core 2. This is how my brain works. I find a reason to convince myself that I don't have what it takes and I can't do it. I'm insecure about my intellectual capabilities. I don't trust them. I don't believe in them. Which is not good, because I clearly have something going on here. You know, I started this in February. It's been 2 months, 2.5 months from the ground up, basically. This material I haven't looked at in over a year or two. And before that, even longer. I really like let myself fall off the face of the earth when it comes to being knowledgeable with this stuff. That's better. Just a little light on my face. Just a little. Man. Now what, huh? We're starting to look. I mean, look at this, man. We got 90s. We got 90s on all of them. We went from getting 50s to 60s to 70s to 80s to 90s in about a month. Man. That feels good. That feels real good. Now what? Part of me, I don't feel like I need to do this. I don't feel like I have to do this for hours and hours on end. It's just not necessary. Maybe. And my other issue is that if I just keep on doing these questions and keep on doing the questions over and over and over again, I am going to memorize them. You just can't do that. You can't just barrel yourself through it. You'll memorize the questions. Tell yourself you won't, but you absolutely will. You absolutely will memorize the questions. So we can't just drill, 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 drill. I'm thinking tomorrow we might go back through this whole thing again. That's what I'm thinking. Right, we just did 120 questions and we got 93% on 190 questions. And some people have said that these test questions are harder than what you see on the exam. They say that these questions are more technical and more specific than what you would see on the exam. Like, this is over preparing. Which is good, because I would like to go in there and get a straight up 100 on it. I want to get a test score so high that they think that they suspect foul play. A suspiciously good score. That if it were true would demonstrate not just knowledge, but damn near mastery. Which of course I just don't have, but on paper it would look good. It would definitely help me get a tech job. Doing IT full time would just be so sick. It would be so sick. I would be so happy to have a job like that. I don't know why, but when I was younger, when I was in my 20s, that sounded like a terrible time. It sounded terrible. But as I've gotten older, that sounds like awesome. It sounds like a sweet gig. And I feel like I can put the work in to earn that. You know what I mean? Go get a job for Amazon or something. I don't know. Hell yeah. Alright, I'm gonna pop off here for a bit. I'll probably stream a little bit later. probably a good while. We're going to be playing Lords of the Fallen today with a buddy of mine on Twitch. We're going to be playing that all day. All day. Well, not all day, but probably for at least a few hours tonight. We'll see how it goes.